So it's that time now. You want to go to university and you want to pursue a design degree that will set you up for a creative career. But if you're still deciding or even considering studying architecture school, here are some of my advice that I'll give to someone if they're still undecided to study architecture in university. Hey there, rising architects, welcome back to the channel. And if you're new here, my name is Aldrin and I've got some 8 super exciting and super important tips and advice for all of you who are planning to go to architecture school in 2024. So let's go right through them. Okay, so the first one is going to be understanding exactly what you're getting into, right? So first things first, architecture school is going to be a hard subject, right? But it's going to be an amazing subject as well, where it is going to be a mix of art, it's going to be a mix of science, drawing, deep thinking, and a whole lot of hard work. You'll be busy designing things and drafting a lot of drawings and problem solving every single time. So understanding exactly what you're getting into means that you know exactly what to expect when it comes to daily workloads. And when I first started architecture school, I was very oblivious about what to do as well. And it has completely changed the way I think. And as a designer, first starting out and really starting to challenge and start to think more critically when it comes to your own work or even your colleagues' work as well. So for me, I love drawing and creating, whilst I spend most of my time documenting or sketching or even making in the workshop. It was very easy for me to use those skill sets and put them into a subject that can really make a difference. So do make sure that you are really passionate about this subject and this field, because it really requires a lot of dedication and a lot of resilience. Second is to be able to develop your time management skills, right? One of the most biggest challenges in architecture school is be able to manage your own time. And you'll have multiple projects, you'll even have multiple deadlines, and often you'll be working more than normal. Now, a good tip is basically to invest in a good planner or use a digital planner tool to be able to keep track of your assignments and your deadlines. Now, I use Notion to be able to keep track of my assignments and deadlines and be able to have it somewhere that you can store it and it's going to be neat and organized, right? And you want to keep it in bullet points so you can see the task ahead. If you want a tutorial of that in the next couple of videos, please do let me know in the comment section below so I can plan it all out and show that to you as a tutorial. But if you want to prioritize your task and plan out the dates and the actions needed to get the work done, you want to do that and plan it out in Notion and well in advance so that you can prioritize tasks and you'll be able to tick tasks as they go. Okay, so make sure that you are being well prepared for the task ahead, whether it be researching or planning, or you want to plan your project drawings, or you want to prepare for your own presentations and speeches, for example, right? These are very critical when it comes to delivering your own project and be able to communicate it in front of an audience so that when it is going to be successful, you are going to receive a lot of positive feedbacks from your tutors and for your critics as well. Now, the third tip is all about learning the basics of the design softwares, right? Before you kind of step into your first class, you need to familiarize yourself with the essential design softwares like InDesign, Photoshop, Illustrator, AutoCAD, or even SketchUp and Revit, right? These are the essential applications that you need to know and start to get yourself familiarized before you even going into architecture school. Now, there are plenty of free tutorials online that you can be able to use and be able to sign up for to give you a head start. But if you want to even get a better head start, I actually do have a course for InDesign for beginners, so you can be able to sign up for that using the link in the description below to get started. It's essentially free and you can get started straight away. Now, I think the most requested document for most designers or most architecture firms that they need is essentially a professional portfolio, right? And by learning how to use these digital softwares early on, like InDesign for example, can really give you the basic and quickest ways to be able to start and experiment on how you create your own portfolio. Now, in first year, I remember when I first started architecture school, they made us do our portfolios all by hand. And obviously that kind of involved purchasing quite a lot of tracing paper as well as A1 pieces of paper. So we would purchase A1 pieces of paper or A2 pieces of paper, and we would put all of the work in the tracing paper. And then we essentially also had to buy an A1 or A2 piece of paper and then mount it on top of that, which is essentially what gives it the portfolio content, right? And we all had to encompass all that or package all that in a portfolio cover, which essentially puts it all together, right? A portfolio cover. So That's what essentially what it was first year. But in hindsight, it was very time consuming. It was a bit of a waste of time and also a bit of waste of resource as well. But it really taught us how to think about it in a composition, layout, and hierarchy early on, with using of drawings and using by hand. And so that when it comes to second year, where you have access to those digital softwares like InDesign, Photoshop, and Illustrator, it was much more easier for us to actually learn those principles of hierarchy, layout, and composition in our digital portfolios, because essentially we have ideas on how to be able to best present our drawings, and best present our ideas, and best present to create a story, essentially, right? And that's what's really important when it comes to your portfolios. Now, when it comes to your third year, you essentially are already getting good at the software. You're already getting good at generating great graphics and great drawings, and you're already getting familiarized yourself in presenting in front of people. So you get to a point where you essentially, in your final year project, where you can apply all those skill sets at the best of your ability to create a professional, personal portfolio that reflects ultimately your design process, and it ultimately reflects yourself, right? So whether you are getting started, or even if you are a complete beginner, it is going to be a skill that will continue to develop throughout your architecture school, and ultimately going to transition into professional practice. And it's going to be a skill set that you'll need for life if you're going to pursue in becoming an architect or even a designer, right? And trust me, you want to invest your time in learning this design softwares early on. Your future self will actually thank you for that. Now, tip number 4 is all about building a strong foundation in sketching. Now, while the digital skills are really crucial when it comes to architecture school, do not underestimate the power of hand drawing as well. Now, sketching really helps you convey ideas very, very quickly on paper, and it's a fundamental skill that most and every architect should be able to master, right? So if you are good at drawing, you want to practice sketching. You want to practice drawing buildings in perspective, or in axonometric, or in isometric, right? By you being able to do this, you can very quickly put your ideas into paper, and that you can consequently and consecutively at the same time communicate it to the people who you are trying to communicate to, whether it be your tutors or your peers, right? So sketching and talking about how you approach that sketch is really a skill that most architects should be able to master and develop. Okay. Now, if you don't feel like you are pretty good at sketching or drawing, here's a tip that I'd like you to do. I want you to go to Pinterest or go to a YouTube channel and find a drawing that you really think that you actually like, or you could emulate to, or even copy, right? Once you've done that, you then want to try and sketch and trace over the drawing that you would like to sketch an idea for, right? And a pro tip is to be able to use tracing paper and start sketching over the drawing, even trace on it, right? You can learn and train your hand to sketch and draw just by tracing things, but keeping in mind that you only do this to be able to develop your sketching abilities, and not being able to use it to copy or take credit for somebody else's work, okay? Now, the 5th tip is all about reading and researching, right? Immerse yourself in architecture literature. You want to read books, you want to read journals, and want to read articles on architectural history, whether it be architectural theory and contemporary practices, for example, right? The more that you know about this in the field, the better prepared you'll be for your classes and your projects. Now, I remember the first time when I was learning and hearing all about the architects like Zaha Hadid, or Daniel Libeskind, or Norman Foster, or Calatrava, just from other people's work, I got very curious about who they are or what they actually designed, right? And so I went online and started researching more about them and more about their work. And I found out very quickly about how they approach their work and how they approach their designs. And it really gave me a new world, a new perspective of how I would start to emulate their work. And I quickly fell in love with their work and their process, right? So because I was reading quite a lot of the books and looking for role models in the field, I got to know that there are different approaches in designing and how they think and how they would interpret things and objects, right? And that really helped me also use that as a base model for how you can ultimately put your own design process. And this is going to be a very important position for you to do, because when you start to research and read books about it, you can ultimately form your own design process around their processes as well. You learn from other people just because they've done it before, and then you can use that to emulate your own design process after. Now, number 6 is to be able to connect and network, right? You want to start building your network really early and connect with current students, alumni, or even professionals who are in the field, right? You can already do that through social media like LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook, right? These are great platforms to already start building your own networks, right? And next is to be able to attend architecture school events, open evenings, or even join online forums, right? So don't be afraid to ask your questions or ask for advice for any professional network who you want to get in contact with, right? Network can really open up a lot of doors for you when it comes to internships, job opportunities, or even valuable mentorship from someone who was in their shoes before and is ready to share any knowledge that they would give advice to from someone where they were now, right? So it's really important to get yourself out there, raise your hand up, and really ask questions or seek advice to professionals who have already been there before and will even give you a personalized mentorship in that respect, right? So number 7 is all about preparation for critiques, right? A crit is basically a time where you get to pin up your work or present it on a screen and be able to talk about it in depth of your project and seek advice and feedback on how to improve it with your professors or your tutors, right? Now, critiques are a big part of architecture school. Your work will be reviewed by your peers and professors or even visiting critics, right? And sometimes the feedback can be great if it all goes well, but sometimes it's going to be very tough also. And I've seen presentations or crits that has not gone well. So it is really important to learn to take criticisms constructively and use it to improve your design, because it is essentially all part of the process. You are there to learn and you are there to get better every day. It's important that you take feedback as a form for you to improve your own design and improve in the approach on how you present your work as well. Okay? Now, if you want more in-depth tutorial on how to best prepare your crits, do let me know in the comment section below so I can get that video tutorial sorted out for you. But my online course also covers the topics on verbal techniques and presentation techniques as well. It talks about how you best prepare for your presentations, how you structure out your presentation, how to be able to execute it on your crits so that you can be able to speak confidently and clearly as well. So if you are interested in doing that, just sign up on the description box below so that you can get started immediately. So number 8 is all about staying healthy, okay? Now, it is widely known that the architecture industry and even architecture school is a very time-consuming profession. And working overtime hours and even going to extremes to working the whole night or day, which I think in the long run will actually not help you with your physical or mental health. So you want to not forget about taking care of your health, and you want to take care of yourself, right? Architecture school can be very stressful, but it can also be very, very enjoyable and super rewarding in the end. It is super critical to maintain a good work and life balance in what you do, whether you're in a profession, industry, or if you're studying architecture, right? So make sure that you do get enough sleep, or you do eat well, or take short breaks from time to time as well, right? A healthy body and a healthy mind will help you stay focused and stay productive in the long run. Now, architecture should be a place for learning and collaborating and inspiring others, and it should be a rewarding time for everyone, right? So it should teach students to be prepared and to set up greatly into the professional practice that has always been respected and always been trusted and always going to be a great asset to any construction or production workforce. So that's it for today's video, guys. Those are the 8 tips that I would use that would help me when I first started going through architecture school. So I hope these tips help you feel more prepared for architecture school in 2024. So if you found this video really useful, give this a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more tips and advice. And also leave a comment if you have any questions or topics that you want me to cover for the next video. So good luck out there, and I can't wait to see the amazing architects that you'll be able to become, right? So I'll see you in the next video, which is going to be for the next one.